And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be. That's what our Qso-Vlog network is all about, trying to help people achieve the best sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the best sounding station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. And so I started the Qso-Vlog network with the phrase, if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. And today we're currently featuring over 3,000 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. And you can access these recordings by going to YouTube and doing a call letter search for KC9VKV followed by the word logbook. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor followed by the word logbook. And we also have a newer series called KC9VKV Highlights. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. These are some of our less technical and more human nature philosophical kinds of QSOs. That's KC9VKV followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. Both KC9VKV Logbook and KC9VKV Highlights are a segment of our main YouTube homepage of Jim's Radio Story, where we celebrate a 50-year career in commercial broadcasting. A 50-year journey from a 5-watt pirate radio station as a 12-year-old to production director of a major 50,000-watt AM broadcast facility. And the thing that makes this truly a unique story is that I have all the actual masters from all along the way. Over 2,600 shows, including many full-length major music concerts and radio documentaries. You'll have to check it out and subscribe. Jim's Radio Story on a YouTube search. Our mission statement for the Qso-Vlog network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QAM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. We're looking to optimize the transmitted voice for a higher degree of intelligibility through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we're running 5 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia specifically. And in addition, we're running our newer number 5 Hocus Pocus Internet SDR receiver, loaded with 50 additional pre-programmed Internet SDR locations spread out over 20 states across the eastern half of the United States, trying to get the best copy from our 100-watt friends. Now, the audio from these 5 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also in this selector is our local receiver audio. And today, our local receiver is running 3 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed at 0 degrees, one aimed at 90 degrees, and the number 3 is aimed at 134 degrees. These are some of our directional scanner array with a manual voting system 6-position rotary selector. Also today on the transmit side, we'll be running our newer NOSWR specially oriented dipole antenna, but this is a tuned dipole antenna. One leg of this resonant tuned dipole antenna runs broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg runs broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over for Montreal to Miami, with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today we'll be running our input source indicator, so when we switch from an internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube Qso-Vlog video. And as we come together for another Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network, let us pause just a moment for the amateur radio operator's prayer. Lord, we pray for clear 20 over S9 communications today. Let all our transmissions fill the air and reach their destinations QSA5 to be understood by all. And as we pray for good radio conditions, let us pray also for good human conditions. During this time of pandemic that has challenged us all, we pray that you'll protect everyone, especially our elderly. And also, Lord, we seek your divine intervention to bring peace to a very divided United States. As we go through a very conflicting time in America's history, with dark clouds all around, we pray that you'll reduce life's daily political QRM between our brothers and sisters. And through your love and guidance, show us the way to find peace and harmony. Help us to communicate with one another 20 over S9. Thank you, Lord, and God bless and protect America. Amen. To continue, since this part of the band has many nets trying to operate in a very confined area, I would appreciate everybody checking into our Qso-Vlog net to have their bandpass no greater than 100 to 2900. That's 100 to 2900. And now, with all that being said, let's open our line up and see who's out there. This is KC9VKV. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
KW4EX.
EX station, come back slowly with your call sign phonetically.
Kilo Whiskey 4 Echo X-Ray. Good afternoon, Jim.
Roger, Roger. What's going on there?
Well, not a whole lot. I heard you with your preamble there to the net, and I really like that. That sounded really good. I've checked in many times, but I just wanted in and say hello and make sure that my audio is still up to par, and I don't think I've changed any settings, but hopefully you can give me a quick result.
Oh, yes, sir. Audio's beautiful. Simply beautiful. Absolutely. Couldn't be better, Roger.
Roger that. Okay, well, I will not keep you because I know there's other stations that are waiting to see what they sound like and get your opinion as well. So, anyway, thank you very much, Jim, and I will let you go, and we will probably check in again in the near future. KW4EX.
Roger, Roger. And where are you, sir?
Oh, I'm in Gainesville, Georgia, Lake Lanier area, just north of Atlanta.
Roger. And what radio was that?
This is the Anon 7000.
Roger, Roger. And what was the name?
Name here is Gordon.
Yes, Gordon. I recognize the name. And let's see here. What was the call sign?
Kilo Whiskey 4 Echo X-Ray.
Roger, I have one of these new pins that specialty is it doesn't write. I don't know whether it's the heat in the control room or what it is, but it's a brand new pin, and it's a heavy-duty broad, and I can hardly read it. Maybe I need to go to the eye doctor. Anyway, Gordon, 73 there, sir, if you want to hear your audio. If you go to YouTube and do that call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, it'll take you there, and it'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3,000, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow.
Super fine, Jim. Well, good luck having a great afternoon show. So, anyway, 73 to you, and this will be KW4EX clear.
Roger, Roger. 73, sir. Have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilowatt 9, this is Zulu Sierra.
Zulu Sierra Station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Yes, sir. This is Kilo 9, Zulu Sierra. The name is Don. I'm back like a bad city, Jim. We talked about 2 weeks ago.
Roger, Don, and what's your location?
Just outside of Indianapolis, so we're not far away.
Roger, and what radio are you talking on?
This may jog your memory. I'm running a 40-year-old Kenwood TS530, and having all the troubles perhaps with the D104.
Oh, you are running the D104 now?
Yeah, but I changed it since I got all that good advice 2 weeks ago on this frequency. I took some of that to heart and have changed the frequency. I took some of that to heart and have changed the D104 quite a bit.
I see. What kind of element are you running? What kind of element are you running?
Well, sir, you may recall I had an outboard equalizer unit here. It's something made in the Ukraine. I got to checking it out and found that it provides 5 volts DC across the microphone input pins. So I got an FET electric element out of New York. Whiskey 2 Echo November Yankee provided that for about $30.
Roger, well, it's sounding really good, and it doesn't sound like you're getting any RF in the AF. Was that what we finally figured that that's what it was, RF in the AF? Figured that that's what it was, RF in the AF?
Well, actually, suggested a new, went back in and realigned the transceiver, all the coil packs, and then went back in and realigned the transceiver, all the coil packs and everything. I don't think that was a problem. But currently I'm running it through the little equalizer unit, but I've got all the equalization set at 0 dB, and I was wondering if we can do anything at this point to enhance the audio.
Okay, so that's, you still have your external equalizer in the circuit. It's just not equalizing anything at the moment. Is that a Roger? In the circuit, it's just not equalizing anything at the moment. Is that a Roger?
That's an absolute Roger, because this radio does not, the radio itself does not provide the voltage you need for the FET element, but the equalizer unit does. So I have to have it in line. And like I said, right across the board, it's 0 dB on all 5 of the frequency ranges.
Roger, Roger. And what is the actual element that you're running in that D104? Roger. And what is the actual element that you're running in that D104?
So Whiskey 2 Echo November uniform. Bought it on eBay. He sells a number of different replacement elements for Shure and for Turner and for static microphones.
Roger. So is that a condenser or a dynamic? Roger. So is that a condenser or a dynamic?
Well, let's see. In the paperwork, all it says is FET electric.
Oh, that's good. Okay. So right now you're kind of like telephone equalization. It's your very upper mids. So I want to go into a higher realm of upper mids around 2.7 would be an ideal frequency. So you have that equalizer there. What do you have close to 2.7 kilohertz? There. What do you have close to 2.7 kilohertz?
The closest would be the 3 kilohertz control.
Okay, that's good. So plus 10 on that 3 kilohertz control, Roger. 3 kilohertz control, Roger.
Okay, now it's marked off in all the way up to 6 dB, plus 6 dB, so you want me to go about 10%, is that what you're saying?
Now, just go ahead and max out that push for that frequency, Roger?
Push for that frequency, Roger. Roger, there it is. It's all the way up at plus 6 dB.
Okay, now pull your control that you have around 1 kc, pull that one back about 5 clicks.
Okay, pull that one back about 5 clicks. Okay, what'd that do?
Okay, pull it on back. I usually don't mess with the mid-range. I prefer to keep that flat and do it at the top and the bottom, but that radio for some reason is very mid-rangey to start off. I mean, it's just not. You've run 3 or 4 mics through there, and they all sound about the same. So it can't be, it can't be the microphone. It's got to be the radio. So go ahead and cut about 4 more clicks of where you attenuate 4 more clicks on your mid-range.
Where you attenuate 4 more clicks on your mid-range. Okie dokie, how's that?
We're getting close. And now let's go to the bottom end and come up 3 clicks boost from where you are on the bottom. Now, what is your bottom? Is it 50 cycles or 200 cycles or what?
You are on the bottom. Now, what is your bottom? Is it 50 cycles or 200 cycles or what? It is 80 hertz.
Okay, so go ahead and dump 80 all the way, full attenuation on 80 hertz. Get rid of that altogether, Roger.
80 hertz. Get rid of that altogether, Roger. Roger, there it is.
Okay, so what's the next one up from 80?
Okay, so what's the next one up from 80? 250.
Okay, 250 plus 6 from where it is. Plus 6 from where it is, 250.
6 from where it is. Plus 6 from where it is, 250. Okay, you're saying the whole 6 dB?
Plus 6 on 250.
Plus 6 on 250. Okay, that's all the way.
Okay, pull it back plus 3. Drop 3 from where you are. So it's 3 from where you are at the moment, Roger.
Where you are. So it's 3 from where you are at the moment, Roger. Roger, there we are. That's about plus 3, plus 3 right there on 250.
Okay, so let's go back up to the top range there. So, and we've maxed out our top end at our 3kc top end, Roger?
Maxed out our top end at our 3kc top end, Roger? Yes, we did.
Okay, and the one below that, we shelved that one about 7 dB minus or so?
That one about 7 dB minus or so? Yes, 6 dB is as far as I can go on the minus.
Roger. Let's see here. Well, I'm trying to figure out, we've done some great attenuation in the mid-range. Tried to cut a hole in that microphone's poor response. If you can imagine a curve, it's like 0, 0 coming into this approximately 1 kc area, and then it's just a big hump. That's what it is on that radio for some reason, whatever it is. So what we need to do is take that. We've tried to just accentuate the positive on the top end. It's still not enough. So we went back and had to take some out of the middle to try to help our flatness, Roger.
Try to help our flatness, Roger. Roger, we've got an untouched middle here. We got a 500 hertz control that's still flat.
Yes, sir. I'm thinking we're probably in good stead there. But you might try reducing that by 3 clicks. Reduce that 500 cycles by 3 clicks, Roger.
Reduce that 500 cycles by 3 clicks, Roger. Okay, Jim, there it is.
Okay, so why don't let's go back to your ALC and reset the level. back to our ALC, and as you say the word audio, adjust your mic gain until your ALC is running 2/3 or 7, whichever comes first.
Our ALC is running 2/3 or 7, whichever comes first.
Alrighty. That should be it.
Okay, so, and you don't have anything in the closet power-wise that you might be able to come up with, Roger?
You don't have anything in the closet power-wise that you might be able to come up with, Roger?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand that question. Try that again.
Roger, you don't have a power amplifier that you could put in there, Roger?
Power amplifier that you could put in there, Roger?
No, negative. I just got the 100 watts out of the old TS530.
Okay, so why don't you give me about 20 seconds and tell me about the best thing you like about your radio.
20 seconds and tell me about the best thing you like about your radio.
What I like about it.
You have to do better than that. I need about 20 seconds, Roger.
You have to do better than that. I need about 20 seconds, Roger.
I've gotten so used and have not tried any other rig, so I guess that just familiarity.
Roger, we doubled on a little bit of that. Mother Nature did a massive fade, and I thought you had concluded your transmission. Well, gosh, I need to hear more of it. I don't have that good a bite on the audio right at the moment. I wanted to go around and check some of the other SDRs and see if I could get something a little bit warmer than what I'm doing on my Kentucky SDR or even my local antenna. Transmissions move around. Propagation moves around, some's hot, some's not, and then it comes around and flicks the opposite. So I got to try to stabilize it one way so I can hear enough of it to figure out where we're going. That radio is, you say it's an aged radio, like 40 years?
You say it's an aged radio, like 40 years?
Yes, sir, it is right at 40 years of age.
Roger. Now, for something, I don't think someone would design a radio for that much mid-range normally, And like I say, we've been through 3 mics on that radio. So I think maybe you might check out to see if you need to recap some stuff up front in the audio section so it would be maybe broader, something. That older radio, the caps may need to be replaced because they wouldn't discriminate naturally to the place where we are, equalization-wise, without age or something,
Equalization-wise, without age or something,
Okay, that sounds like the next step for me. I certainly will look at that, Jim.
Roger, so you're running a condenser mic right now. You're running an electret microphone, Roger?
Running a condenser mic right now. You're running an electret microphone, Roger?
Yes, sir. It's described here as an FET electret.
Roger. Yeah, you should be much brighter than where you are at the moment. So think about getting the front end recap to the front audio section of the preamp, because I think that's where the problem is. It seems to be that it's very, very mid-rangey. Like I say, you're EQing all the way boost on your treble area and all the 7 dB back on your mid-range, and I guess your bottom end is wherever it is, but usually we don't have to EQ the mids at all as far as that mid-range frequency. We usually be sure and keep that flat because that is the reference point for the microphone and the radio. You got to have to start somewhere, so you might as well start flat because usually, if there's a problem with the microphone. It's not in the mid-range. Usually it's at one end or the other of the frequency spectrum, either the top or the bottom, where it will drop off. But that radio is, for whatever reason, really spiking the mid-range. Roger?
For whatever reason, really spiking the mid-range. Roger?
Roger. Okay, Jim, thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate it. I'm going to look into the audio section here. Of course, it's all transistorized on this rig. It's as tube finals, but going to get in there and see what I can find out there. Thanks again for your time. This is K9ZS.
Roger, just out of curiosity, do you recall what the output capacitor of the Electret preamp is? What size is that? Sometimes if you come out with a really light capacitor out of a preamp, it will shift up like that depending on the load that it's working into. But I was just curious if you ever saw what the output capacitor is of that mic preamp.
Capacitor is of that mic preamp.
Okay, I think you're describing the outboard equalizer unit, are you not?
Yes, sir, that's the one. And what they're using for, what you tie your audio out to get out, there's a capacitor in there, a blocking capacitor. And I was just curious if you knew that or could see that and what it is.
If you knew that or could see that and what it is.
Value it is. I'll have to open it up to find out what value that capacitor is.
Roger. So it will probably be a polarized capacitor, somewhat in the neighborhood of probably 10 microfarads. Or it could be 10 microfarads, 5 microfarads, 10 microfarads, whatever. Not just a real shallow amount of capacitance there, because you want those lower frequencies and those upper frequencies. Roger?
Lower frequencies and those upper frequencies. Roger?
Roger. I just found a schematic here. Really hard to read. Let's see. It's a bad print. I have to get a magnifying glass here. I will check that out and possibly change that capacitor if it's inadequate.
Yes, sir. I would say 5 to 10 microfarads would be a good. But you can't just change it. You have to use a polarized capacitor on that output. Roger?
Polarized capacitor on that output. Roger?
Okay, you're talking electrolytic, right?
Yes, sir. 5 microfarad to 10 microfarad electrolytic. It's the last capacitor coming out to your audio for your radio.
They're coming out to your audio for your radio.
Roger. I have a number of those laying around, as a matter of fact. I'll take a look-see at that, Jim. And once again, thanks. Thanks a lot.
I wish you luck. This is a continued evolution of a mysterious ailment that I believe that radio has, and it should cure itself. I believe it to be right in the preamp, the very first preamp section of your device, your radio, or the second half back in there a little bit further. But right in the first part of the audio section is where I think the problem is.
The first part of the audio section is where I think the problem is.
Well, I see your day has been productive, there, young man.
Well, my Elmer speaks. Yeah, how goes it, sir?
Wow, my Elmer speaks. Yeah, how goes it, sir?
On your behalf. How's your day going?
Oh, lousy. I mean, I forgot never to schedule anything on Friday, and I I had two things scheduled this morning, and neither one of them were good, and so it didn't help getting to this point. Roger.
Roger. Well, you're sounding good on this, and I am doing the close talk to the microphone, and I believe you approve of that. Over.
Oh, yes, and my 7300 appreciates that too, Roger.
Yes, sir. Good deal. All right, Jim, I'll turn you back over to your show, and N9CTO listening in.
Well, don't go. Don't rush off. Don't be a stranger.
Well, I'm not a stranger. I'm not a stranger at all. I'll be glad to stay here for a few minutes until you pick up some more customers. Over.
Well, Roger, I don't know if we pick them up or they pick us up or, however it evolves. But we were discussing the bird coming down with the secret word bird. And then we chose a thing for that bird to say, and we would award some kind of worthless prize for it. But then we started talking about our subject matter. And I started thinking about that, and you know what we would normally subject matter speak about? I don't know how we could possibly speak about that without running across the secret word, if you know what I mean.
Well, sure I do. Is there anybody else out there that'd like to get the radio checked out? Give us a shout.
Absolutely. How about November? How about November
in 4HZ, Roger, what's the name there?
November 4HZ, Roger, what's the name there?
Yeah, November 4, Hotel Zulu, Main Hills, Roger, in Cottontown, Tennessee.
Roger. In Tennessee, is that a Roger?
Roger. In Tennessee, is that a Roger?
That is correct, Jim. And I'm checking out my old tube has been giving me a little bit of problems. It's a radio I built back in the 70s, I guess, and you don't use these old radios, they get arthritis. And this one has had arthritis. Had a transmit problem, and then I got that fixed and started checking it out and had a receive problem. So here it is. Started checking it out and had a receive problem. So here it is on the bench, just sitting here, and I wonder if it's making power to wherever you are.
Yes, sir. It's making down towards Kentucky. We're down around Louisville, so I've got a pretty good copy on you on my local 7300, but I have just a little bit better copy on my Kentucky SDR, which is located up around Cincinnati on the Kentucky side of the Ohio River, right at Cincinnati, Roger.
On the Kentucky side of the Ohio River, right at Cincinnati, Roger.
Roger, Jim. Had a couple of unique problems, one of which I still don't understand on this old SB-102 on the transmit side, but I got it working, so can't argue with success, but I still don't understand for sure what the problem was.
Roger. Now, does that radio... That's a pretty older radio, Roger.
Now, does that radio... That's a pretty older radio, Roger.
Oh, yes, I built it back in the 1970s. The transmit, I know what the receive problem got it fixed, but the transmit problem, the problem was it would not key the TR relay, and the problem seemingly was just the tube that drives the relay. What I don't understand is the tube checked good, but putting other tubes in there works just fine, although not all tubes will work okay. For example, this is a 6EW8 tube. I've got a few spares. Some of them work, some of them don't. All of them check good.
Roger that. Now, if it is just that you prefer the older radio for a challenge of keeping it running. You could always buy a newer radio and have better results. But in lieu of that, there may be some tubes that have been converted to a solid state. There may be some replacement solid state tubes for that radio, and then if you wanted to continue running the radio, maybe you could just swap out some of those tubes for solid state replacements. Roger?
Tubes for solid state replacements. Roger?
Roger, Jim. I don't know of any tube that would do that for this particular application, but I did know that even back as far as the 70s, EQUALIZATION came out with a text bulletin that said that particular radio, that some in this particular radio, that some manufacturers tubes would not work well, and they suggested replacing, I don't remember the brand, I'll just make this up, let's say replace the Sylvania tube with an RCA tube, for example. So it may be something as silly as that. But yes, I love my old radios, and yes, I have modern radios too. I have a 7300 like you do, and again with TS590, but I've got boo-boos of old Heathkit tube-type radios all the way back to an Apache AM transmitter. And yes, I love working on them. I mean, it's like an old steam engineer or maybe driving an antique car on Sundays, if you know what I mean.
Roger. Now, you probably don't have any onboard EQ. Is that a Roger?
Probably don't have any onboard EQ. Is that a Roger?
No, everything's working pretty good.
No, I said you do not have any onboard EQ for that radio. I mean, the radio is not designed for onboard EQ, Roger?
For that radio. I mean, the radio is not designed for onboard EQ, Roger?
So I'm not sure I understand the question, Jim.
Does that radio have any equalization? Does the radio have any internal equalization capabilities?
Does the radio have any internal equalization capabilities?
Oh, no, Jim, none at all. None of that kind of stuff. I'm using the old original 1970 mic, which I think was manufactured, I'm sure. But, no, I've just got this one particular mic for this one particular radio. There's no audio tailoring at all in this radio.
Roger. It's part of our setup there. Our setup usually comes about by trying to seek out what the current transmit bandwidth is. The modern day radios have adjustable transmit bandwidths. I know that one doesn't, so I don't call for that in your case, and I wasn't sure whether that might have had a compressor or not. I know I've got a one older, shall we say, that does not obviously have any internal equalization. So the other thing is, do you have any way to adjust the audio? Is that just a light that flashes?
The audio, is that just a light that flashes?
Yeah, just a microphone, and the only adjustment level you have is to turn the mic up or turn the mic down.
Roger. So what is it pointing at right now? What is the microphone gain control pointing at right now? Noon or 2 o'clock?
Gain control pointing at right now. Noon or 2 o'clock?
No, it's pointed right now about 3 o'clock. I'm watching the APC on the meter and just driving it where he said it ought to be driven.
Yes, sir. I have noticed some big excursions from time to time in your modulation, which usually indicates that there is a lack of upper modulation. Like you may be running an average peak modulation of like about 45%. So I was just wondering if you might be able to bring that up a tad. So you would be more approaching 80 to 85% modulation. I would say your current modulation average peak modulation is somewhere around maybe 50%, and maybe we could bring that up to about 80 to 85%, Roger.
Bring that up to about 80 to 85%, Roger.
Roger, Jim. It's okay. It's as high as it's gonna go. The only other way I could do it would be to go into the circuitry and change some components.
Yes, sir. Well, you could probably come down from where you were. I thought I heard something going on up there. So come down a little bit from about halfway between where you were and that higher reading, that last transmission, where you were, about halfway from that to the last transmission. And let me hear you.
Halfway from that to the last transmission. And let me hear you.
Roger, Jim. I'm dropping it at the speed, and okay, that ABC is about half.
Okay, so it's going to be a game of maybe concentrating on your position to microphone. I would say maybe come in an inch closer and try that. Maybe we could drive that up just a tad. But the main thing is to concentrate on trying to get as best modulation as you can out of that. I was hoping, maybe, that's why meters are so important, because it gives you a chance to look at like the ALC meter and just concentrate on trying to keep that up in the sweet spot of about 2/3. It really does make a lot of difference as opposed to maybe turning your head away or thinking about other things. That's the way I would do it anyway. I would be looking at the ALC tube or meter or whatever it might be, Roger.
Tube or meter or whatever it might be, Roger.
Roger, Jim. It has ALC meter on it, and I'm looking now again just as to where Heathkit says it should run. It's in the upper part of the ALC, and that's about as high as I can get it. Like I said, without changing components, and it's hanging. It looks like the average right now would be appropriate as I look at the meter. Of course, I can't tell on your end, but the thing with these old radios of this generation, though, Jim, is there's just not anything really to adjust. You just inside that mode, you just turn it up and get the power off the AC up. That's all the handle that one has.
Roger that. Roger that. Well, yeah. That's a what type of mic is that you're using right now?
What type of mic is that you're using right now?
I think it was manufactured by Shure. It's got a Heathkit label on it, so I just don't know what the Shure model number would be. I don't know. I have to go look up the paperwork.
Roger. Is it a hand mic or a desk mic?
Roger. Is it a hand mic or a desk mic?
It is a hand mic.
Very good. So what you want to do in working that microphone is obviously pull it to the corner of your lips, actually touch the corner of your lips and talk across it. That would be the best way to handle that hand mic. Pull it to the corner of your lips, actually touch the corner of your lips. Roger?
Pull it to the corner of your lips, actually touch the corner of your lips. Roger?
Roger. That's the way we do it.
Roger. And so tell me about your antenna system one more time so I can give you some more audio, or I could get some more audio from you.
I can give you some more audio, or I could get some more audio from you.
Okay, Jim. Well, right now, I guess I've got it's hard to explain it. I've got about 120 some odd feet of wire in the air. It's not any kind of standard antenna. It's really a random length wire. I've feed it with an un, and it makes a loop. It goes up into the air about 40 feet and makes a loop around my backyard. And then the end of the end fed, comes back to the deck to the origination point. So it's like a loop, but it's just end fed instead of feeding like a balanced antenna.
Roger. Have you ever checked it in generality for its SWR without the SWR bridge in there?
Or without the SWR bridge in there?
Yes, I have, and yes, I have an analyzer, and I don't have the curve with me right now, but it's reasonable. Everywhere, I think on 75 meters the SWR was around a 4 or 5 to 1 without using the tuner, and on the other bands going upward, it was down around a 2, something like that. 75 was the worst point.
Roger that. Well, that should be, you're well within range of most auto-tuners, I would think, Roger.
In range of most auto-tuners, I would think, Roger.
Roger. 7300 will handle it just fine. But of course, this old geek kid doesn't have such things. But right now, I am going through a tuner, an external tuner, and the SWR is around 2 to 1. I didn't even bother to try to optimize it. I was just working on the radio and flipped it over to the on-air position and heard you and thought I'd say hello to see if I had the radio transmitting okay.
Roger, and that was a nice transmission. I could hear that one very well, and I could watch your audio modulation. I've got a VU meter tied to the audio out on my 7300, and so I can see exactly what's going on there. And as you get fatter, the meter tends to hang up there. And earlier it was quite peaky, that it would be up and down, but that last transmission looked to be that you would be maybe a 3 dB dynamic range, which would indicate that your average percent of peak modulation is 80 to 85%. So that meter was really hanging up there, Roger.
85%. So that meter was really hanging up there, Roger.
Roger, Jim. Well, Jim, thank you for the contact. I know the radio's working now, and I'm going to have to get out here. I got to go get a prescription for my wife. She wants me to go get it, so I guess I better go do that. Thank you. Enjoyed the contact, Jim. And again, what is your call?
Call here is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. KC9VKV. My name is Jim, and we're up around Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville, Roger.
We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville, Roger.
Jim, thanks for helping me check out the radio, and I'm going to get off here and go get my wife's prescription for her. Thanks again, Jim. KC9VKV. This is November 4, Hotel Zulu, Cottontown, Tennessee.
Roger. 73 there, sir. You have a great afternoon. A beautiful weekend if you want to hear your audio. If you go to YouTube and do that call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3,300, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. So this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Like that. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
KC9VKV, K4LJE, North Carolina.
Jim, how's it going, sir?
Victor WB4.
Jim, how's it going, sir?
WB4NWV. Okay there, Jim. It's going pretty good. I hope you're doing okay. K4LJE returning in Eden, North Carolina. I just thought I'd come in here and say hello and see how we were doing. I hadn't talked to you in a long time there, over.
Yes, sir. So how is retirement going for you?
Retirement going for you?
Retirement is going pretty good. Retirement's going all right. sometimes a little too good. I'm going to. I've been thinking about it. I need to start doing a little something to make myself worth the taking there, Roger.
Oh, Roger. Well, I tried to make mine a kind of a soft transition from one to the other, and I did somewhat well with it. I didn't have a big hump of nothing to do. So I strongly advise, the more you do, the more, you get around, I think the better you feel, Roger.
The more, you get around, I think the better you feel, Roger.
Oh yeah, yes indeed. Well, it's good to hear you, and I won't hold you too long. We are trying out we've had it a few days. We're trying out a 10-tech Titan amplifier, Titan 425 10-tech amp, and we're driving it with a 10-tech Corsair. We've got an all 10-tech station here coming at you this afternoon, and the antenna is a in-fed wire that is up about 30 feet and about 98 feet long there, Roger.
Roger. Well, let me congratulate you on all the particles and pieces. They're all working just fine. That's a beautiful sounding station, man. Just absolutely beautiful. Perfect, Roger.
Man, just absolutely beautiful. Perfect, Roger.
Okay, well, thank you very, very much. Yeah, we're still we've been doing the outboard audio and the outboard compressor limiter deal for years now, and we had the Drake on here for a while, and we recently bought us a FT710 as well. But when I got this 10-tech amp, I said, well, I considered it heresy if I took another type of rig and drove the amp. I said, I've got to drive the 10-tech amp with the 10-tech rig there, Roger.
Oh, Roger, well, it's just doing a perfect job. Like I say, your audio is up there around 80 to 85%. The contour is nice, nice and bright, easy to hear. Just keep it. Well, obviously, half of the battle is that you have external EQ and compression capabilities that you can plug into any radio, and that really shortens the battle to make things sound good, Roger.
Shortens the battle to make things sound good, Roger.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Well, thank you very, very much for the report there, Mr. Jim. Yeah, and we're very fortunate here. It was a long battle figuring this stuff out because I didn't know what I was doing at all to begin with, and I still barely know what I'm doing. But thank you very, very much for being there, and thank you for the reports and everything. So we'll let you go and let you get somebody else in here. And there's a lot of folks out there that probably need to get in here and talk to you. KC9VKV, thank you very, very much, and we'll see you later, K4LJE.
Roger, Jim, 73 that way, sir. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend, and gosh, if you want to hear that beautiful audio, go to YouTube, do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, with the word logbook, with the word logbook in back of that call sign, and it'll take you right to this recording, and I'll have it uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow. 73, Jim. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me out.
There's somebody back there with the Mints audio problems. Station calling, try it one more time.
Station calling, try it one more time.
Okay, your audio is sounding better already. I think you might have been just hot into it or something. It sounded a little bit better. Let me go around and see if I can find a better copy on you. Why don't you tell me about your antenna system for just a moment, Roger?
Why don't you tell me about your antenna system for just a moment, Roger?
Lima, and QTH here.
think that's about it. That's what I'm using at this time. So running an ICOM 756 Pro 3 at 100 watts. Back to you, over.
Roger, Roger. It does sound like you may have RF in your AF. It is oscillating at times and pretty deranged at other times. So I think it's RF getting into your AF. I'll tell you what, why don't you what is your current mic gain on your radio?
What is your current mic gain on your radio?
Let me check here. Current mic gain's about a 3. Let me try something. Stand by one.
It's got RF in the system, Jim.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. He's checking on it.
I couldn't tell you right off the bat, to be honest with you.
Gosh, what I was going to have you do is turn your mic gain way down and see if the problem goes away, which would be another indication of RF in the AF.
Okay, give me a second. Did that help at all?
A little bit, but I want you to come down even more. So, Bill, have they put your mic gain control in your menu?
Okay, stand by. Let me get to that.
No, I just asked a question. Is your mic gain in your menu? You have to go into your menu to adjust your mic gain. Is that a Roger?
I've got a small switch here for mic gain, and I should keep it right about there's about a 5 right there.
That's something that you have to adjust with a screwdriver. Is that a Roger?
Negative. It's just a regular small switch there.
I'm not following you real well there. How do you adjust your mic gain on that radio?
It's a switch on the side of the radio here, right near the power, the RF power.
A switch? I mean, usually to adjust, you have some kind of attenuator, not a switch. Usually it's an attenuator, but I don't know.
Okay, just stand by for 1 second.
This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. We're running now till 5, and we're talking to Bill, and he's got this radio. It's a 756 Pro 3, and he's trying to find the switch for the volume control when last we left. And we're all thinking that it can't be a switch. It has to be some kind of a rotary volume control or something. Like 99% of the other radios have a rotary volume control for the internal mic gain of the transceiver. And nothing heard. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
W
WB4 November Whiskey Victor.
November 4 station, come back with your call sign slowly phonetically.
The November 4 station, come back with your call sign slowly phonetically.
Whiskey Bravo 4 November Whiskey Victor.
November Whiskey Victor, Roger, Roger. What's the name?
November Whiskey Victor, Roger, Roger. What's the name?
Yeah, the name is Frank, Jim, and I'm located in Pensacola, Florida.
Roger, Frank, do you have a pretty good copy on me?
Roger, Frank, do you have a pretty good copy on me?
Yeah, you're not super loud, but I'm copying you just fine. Your signal's nice and clean, so everything seems to be working well.
Roger, Roger, Frank, what radio are you using today, sir?
Roger, Roger, Frank, what radio are you using today, sir?
Well, Jim, I'm running an ICOM 7300 with the standard hand mic that comes with it.
Say no more, say no more. That's just such a beautiful combination. It's hard to go wrong with a 7300 and its supplied hand mic. Roger, Roger.
300 and its supplied hand mic. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger. I was doing some adjusting on the compression drive and the R drive and the modulation drive. And I didn't know if I had put it up there too high or not.
Well, the best thing is put it in that. Make sure it's in that wide transmit bandwidth TBW transmit bandwidth wide 100 to 2900. Roger.
Transmit bandwidth wide 100 to 2900. Roger.
Well, I'm not very familiar with this radio there, Jim. I haven't had a chance to read the book, and I don't really know how to go into the menus to do that.
Roger, Roger. Well, let me just check a couple of things here. I've got everything you need and more. Okay, coming up, it's, hello. I'm using a little tablet here, and it's not wanting to go for some reason. Why aren't you going? Oh, well. Anyway, yeah, you would need... I'm not finding it right now, but gosh, I'm not sure why. This my tablet. I'm using a tablet here, and it seems to be jammed, and I'm trying to retrieve the information. Anyway.
Trying to retrieve the information. Anyway.
That's okay. Take your time. I turned my mic gain down to where it was before I changed it, and I turned my compression down to where it was before I changed it. So I don't know if that made much difference.
Oh, yes, yes, you sound much better. On that compressor, we suggest a 3 out of 10 on that compressor. That's exactly what you need to be. You can go hotter than that, but then you start having a suck up in between your words, which doesn't do anybody any good. So we want a 3 on that compressor, Roger.
Anybody any good? So we want a 3 on that compressor, Roger.
Yeah, Roger, Roger. Well, what about my antenna?
Well, let's do a little bit more on the radio since we got that going. You've got a 3 on the compressor, and you're in the wide transmit bandwidth. The adjustment for that is in the same area as the SS transmit, and then on your audio EQ, it's right in that area as your transmit bandwidth, and we want to be sure that's in that wide mode, because it really makes a difference when you're lesser than that. It's rolling off your top end as well as your bottom end.
Than that, it's rolling off your top end as well as your bottom end.
Okay, well, I have really bad lighting in the shack here right now, and I don't have my glasses on, so that's really a problem for me because I've got some cataracts now, and so it's make it difficult for me to see the buck panel very well.
Yes, sir. Well, maybe turn your suggest going to your ALC with mic gain in hand and adjusting your mic volume control to where your ALC is running 2/3 on your ALC meter. In lieu of that, maybe you might want to bring it down 5 clicks.
In lieu of that, maybe you might want to bring it down 5 clicks.
Yeah, I'm not much help here, Jim, because I don't even know how to access that, so I don't know if I'm much help.
Roger, Roger. Well, maybe step away from the microphone 2 additional inches. We'll see where that goes, Roger.
2 additional inches. We'll see where that goes, Roger.
Well, this is about 3 or 4 inches, 3.5 inches, something like that, from the mic. And this is right in the mic, not touching it, but about 1/2 inch from it.
Yeah, I'll take the first way, where you're further away from the mic. I think that just sounds really beautiful there, Roger.
Further away from the mic, I think that just sounds really beautiful there, Roger.
Okay, well, I can turn the mic gain down a little bit if I need to, so I don't know if I should turn it down and get a little closer, keep the background noise down, or if I should just leave it like this.
Well, gosh, I wish I had a better copy on you. Tell me about your antenna system for about 10 seconds, and let me look around. I'm still looking around for a better copy location, Roger.
Still looking around for a better copy location, Roger.
Yeah. Florida at the top of the Gulf of Mexico, 35 miles east at 100 watts, and that's probably why you're having a little bit difficult time copy. You're having but I'm putting that 100 watts out of my ICOM 7300 into about 140 feet of RG213. And that's going into an antenna of my own design called the Tune antenna. I don't know if you're familiar with that antenna or not.
Gosh, I am not. I am not. Just a word or so on the hand mic. Best way to use that is pull it to the corner of your lips and talk across it. Talk across it at the corner of your lips. Actually touch the corner of your lips, Roger.
The corner of your lips. Actually touch the corner of your lips, Roger.
Yeah, it's touching the corner of my lips now, and I'm talking across it.
Roger, that should minimize any mic noise, transient P's, B's, and otherwise stuff that you don't want to broadcast, Roger.
Stuff that you don't want to broadcast, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. Anyway, the antenna is a remotely adjustable, motorized, inverted V, half-wavelength, center coaxial wire dipole, and it operates from 1.6 megahertz to the top of 6 meters at 55 megahertz. Everything in between, truly efficient without an antenna tuner, 1-to-1 SWR, truly resonant at a half wavelength at any frequency between 1.6 and 55 megs, simply by flipping a switch on the control box in the shack and extending remotely the antenna elements out from as short as 4 feet on each side to as long as 150 feet on each side.
Roger. Now, okay, so you're not using an external antenna tuner, but you are using this device that tunes the antenna length. Is that what I'm understanding?
Antenna length. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, there's a little worm gear-driven gear motor with its shaft that goes all the way to the gearbox, and on each side of the shaft, on each side there's an insulator, and on each insulator is a stainless steel reel with stranded stainless cable on it, and the cable actually feeds out and retracts back in, rolls up on and off of that reel, so that you watch your watt meter, and when the antenna starts to come into resonance at a half wavelength, you just when the SPR hits flat and the forward power hits the max the radio is set for, you just let off the switch and the motor stops turning, and the antenna is the correct half wavelength at that frequency, so that you have an efficient antenna without an antenna tuner.
Roger, Roger. Now, do you have two of those that you do each part of the dipole separately, or you do both of them at the same time?
Separately, or you do both of them at the same time?
Well, the motor shaft goes through the gearbox and it sticks out each side of the gearbox. So the shield side is on the one reel on one side, the shield of the coax, and the center conductor is on the reel on the other side, and they're isolated from the shaft with an insulator, both of them, so that it's just like a regular standard center-fed dipole, only it has stranded stainless cable on each of the reels, so that when the center and the shield side feed out, they feed out at the same rate, so they stay parallel with each other. And that's the way it works.
Roger. Sounds good to me. I'm all in favor of dipole antennas. I mean, say what you will. To me, I've come to respect the dipole antenna as being one of the most efficient dipole antennas in the world, and also the way that it's oriented makes a big difference as to you getting into a specific target area. The more broadside you are to the target area with your dipole, the more signal you will level towards your target. You are pretty much dead off the ends of a dipole antenna.
Pretty much dead off the ends of a dipole antenna.
Yeah, Roger. Well, I believe that's pretty accurate. And I chose an inverted V because I wanted more of an omnidirectional transmitting and receiving directivity, so that everybody in all directions could hear me and I could hear them. And of course, it's also good because you can receive vertically polarized stations equally as well as horizontally polarized stations. Whereas if you had a horizontal dipole, you wouldn't receive the vertically polarized ones as well as if you had the same polarization. And of course, the center coax beat point impedance is about 52 ohms on the inverted V versus 72 ohms on the horizontal dipole. So that's why I went with inverted V. Also, it needs one center support instead of multiple supports, especially if you're operating the lower bands like 160 meters and 80 meters.
Roger. And so how much would you think economically that you've got involved in that adjustable dipole antenna?
In that adjustable dipole antenna?
The cost to make it, about $500 or less, a little bit less maybe. And I do build them and I do sell them, but I don't want to commercialize over amateur radio. But let me give you the website, and you can go watch the animation and look at all the photos of all the components. The website address is www.tune-a-tenna.com. www.tune-a-tenna.com.
Roger. Well, I think you should be able to stir some interest up with that kind of antennas. It really sounds beautiful, Roger.
With that kind of antennas, it really sounds beautiful, Roger.
Well, it's a single antenna, center coax fed, and it works the whole spectrum efficiently without any compromise. So if you're transmitting 100 watts,
you're going to be efficiently and effectively radiating that 100 watts and not losing 50% of your power in the form of heat in your coax or your antenna matching device.
Roger, so again, I'm understanding how you're tuning it. Now, my normal tune on a dipole antenna is the center conductor I would tune to on frequency, and I would tune the SWR on the ground side, and then I would go back and bring the antenna on frequency by the high side, and then we'll go back to the ground side and adjust the SWR, and you keep going back and forth until you reach null on your SWR and you're on frequency. Roger?
Null on your SWR and you're on frequency. Roger?
Yeah, Roger. If you're cutting your elements to get the maximum efficiency, that would be one way to do it. With this mechanism, the elements are the same length, or very close to the same length as the antenna elements feed off the reel. And of course, there's a 1 pound weight at the end of each of the antenna elements, and that 1 pound weight has a pulley on the top of it on each side, on the shield side and the hot side, and that pulley rides up and down on a masterant guy cable material that's non-metallic. And so gravity and the 1 pound weight and the motor extends it out and retracts it back in and keeps tension on it so that it winds up snugly and shorts all the windings out, so it's all seen as one potential. And of course the reel is stainless also, and it's slightly larger than the windings, so it's all seen as one potential with no arcing or anything like that.
Roger. Now, what would the cabling to that look like? How would you, what drives, power drives would you have going to that, and how do you use the power cable going to it?
How do you use the power cable going to it?
Well, I use a regular coax to the coax connector at the bottom of the box. The box is 8 inches by 8 inches by 5.2 inches and weighs about 8 pounds. And the DC power cable is 2 conductors with jacketed wires, and outside of the jacketed wires is a black jacket. And I provide 100 feet of that cable with the connectors on it that plug into the bottom of the box, 2-pin connectors, aviation-style connectors. And then it goes down and comes into the shack and goes into the back of the control box. And then you got 12 volts coming off your radio power supply that goes into the control box with a little pigtail connector with the same connector on it. So you're taking the 12 volts from or your 13.8 volts from your radio power supply, running it through the control box, and you're extending and retracting the antenna with that. And you just watch your watt meter when you want to extend it or retract it, and you just put your little carrier on there, about 20 watts or 10 watts, and you watch your watt meter. When the SWR goes flat and the forward power hits the max your radio set for, you just let off the switch, and your antenna is the correct half-wave length in length for that frequency you're operating.
Roger. Well, I think that you're going to be very successful in your endeavor. That sounds like a very nice operation, to be able to figure out the voltages and get an easy way to get the power to the devices. And so I guess you just have a switch that reverses the motor drive to come back the other way, so you can tune some of the lower frequencies, Roger?
So you can tune some of the lower frequencies, Roger?
Yeah, Roger. I tell everybody when they first get it to put it up at 40 meters, and that way it only takes maybe 13 seconds to go from 40 to 80 meters, and twice that to go from 40 to 160 meters. But if you're going up in frequency from 40, faster, because the bands are much, the antenna elements for those bands are much shorter. So it's a lot faster changing from, say, 40 meters up to, say, 20 meters or 18 megahertz takes about 6 seconds or something like that. It extends out or tracks back in at about 1 foot per second.
Oh, Roger. Well, it just sounds beautiful, and it's a neat idea. And it's a very forward-looking idea, one that's, right in its beautiful time right now. So I wish you luck and success on it. It should be very successful, Roger.
Success on it. It should be very successful, Roger.
Well, I've sold like 65 of them at this point. I've only been selling them for 2 years, so but nobody. I don't really advertise other than word of mouth, and so I'm not really advertising at all. Period. Other than that, but thank you so much for the nice comments, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. And thank you for helping me try and adjust my audio controls on my Ocom 7300. If you get a chance, check out that website, tune-a-tenna.com. And also, there's like 6 YouTube videos on YouTube. Type in that same thing in the search block on YouTube, and you'll see those videos also. Anyway, I'm going to say 7 threes to you, Jim, unless you have some more questions. And hopefully, we'll get to work again sometime. KC9VKV in Kentucky, WB4NWV, Frank in Pensacola, Florida. God bless.
Roger, Frank. Good idea, but I hope you're all the luck in the world. 73. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net, and we got to get out of here now. It's 5 o'clock, and since 3:30 we've been recording and talking and all that stuff. So right now it's time to return the frequency back to normal amateur radio use. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, clear.
Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, clear.
Are you going to say goodbye to your Elmer?
Well, I didn't know my Elmer was there, and hello, Elmer. I hope everything's doing all right, man.
Oh, Elmer, I hope everything's doing all right, man.
Yeah, you've had a pretty good day. You've had some customers.
Yeah. That last one with that adjustable dipole, motor-driven dipole antenna, man, that was really a neat idea.
Motor-driven dipole antenna, man, that was really a neat idea.
Basically, dipole had counterpoise, like a counterweight with pulleys. And as it would want to go to 40 meters, it would retract the wire in. And it would want to go to, like on a static line, which you'd use like on a fueling truck to an airplane. It'd be like 66 feet long, and if you had that 12-volt system, you'd retract it back to 33 feet for 40 meters. I've seen that done before. Charlie Noyce, W9A, and I had that as well.
Roger. It's just a beautiful. Anybody's talking about dipole antenna, I'm included. I mean, I think a dipole antenna is one of the best antennas in the world, and then to have it motor-driven, not auto-tune. I guess you manually tune looking at your SWR and your frequency.
Yes, sir. Well, Jim, this concludes the KC9VKV vlog. And I'll say 73s to you, and you get busy on crunching these files down and getting them back up online. 73s, God bless you and Teresa, and 9 GTO listening.
Roger, sir. Gosh, you have a good day, sir. Thanks for dropping by. I want to, more often, I think, if you get the opportunity, Roger.
Oh, I will. I was in here off and on listening to you. I had my headphones on the whole time.
Roger. I had a question for you. Say we were on a bombing mission over Germany, and there was only 3 in the plane, you and 2 other people. What would the other 2 people be in your estimation?
I'd be the pilot and co-pilot, and then you would be the navigator.
I was thinking of somebody, what do they call that turret on the bottom, covering your butt?
Oh, that's the gunner.
Yeah, the bottom gunner. I would want somebody. The rear gunner's what I want. I'll take my chances side to side, but I want somebody to cover my whatever.
Oh, yeah, you didn't mention anything about that. you mentioned when you got to have a pilot, co-pilot, and a guy telling you how to fly the plane, directions-wise, tracking everything. You got to have that guy, and then you got to have the gunners. You got to have the top gunners, the bottom gunners. You got to have all those guys. You just can't just have three, because if you have three, you don't need to be out there.
Right. It's a guy that said that he lived beside an atomic reactor, and he says you're either going to be too late or too early.
Oh, yeah. Either way, it's too late or too early. That's sure. It is. How does the audio sound? Are you still recording?
Yes, sir, and it sounds magnifico.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to hearing just a segment of N9GTO with his test audio.
Yes, sir. That's your new radio there?
This is the new radio. This is the 7760 by ICOM.
Roger. Well, you're working that mic just absolutely perfect. I still would put a full windscreen on it, but in lieu of that, you're working the mic just perfect.
Oh, I do have a windscreen mic on it. I do. And if I get real close like that, you know what's going on. And this is right here without the windscreen. This is without the windscreen, and this is with the windscreen. And the windscreen actually enhances the sound.
Absolutely does. I would run it just like that. You are a AAA broadcast, Roger? Roger.
For 3 kilohertz wide, you can't beat it. For 3 kcs wide of audio, and I do have my audio turned down on this rig, or my bandwidth, I should say. So for 3 kcs of bandwidth, not bad. So KC9VKV and 9GTO. Thank you, Jim, and we'll get back to it next week. Same time, same channel.
Roger, sir. That's my Elmer N9GTO. 73, sir. Catch you next week. And again, we're returning the frequency back to normal amateur radio use. KC9VKV clear.
Jim?
Who was that?
Yeah, it's Frank in Pensacola. Just to let you know that, it works with positive 12 volts extends the antenna elements out, and negative 12 volts retracts them back in. And there is on the control box a center off spring-loaded double pole, double throw switch that reverses the voltage from positive to negative, whether you're retracting or extending the antenna element.
Roger, that's a three-pole, three-position toggle switch, center off, down one way and up the other way?
Yeah, and it's spring-loaded, so when you let off, it automatically goes to the off position in the middle and stops the antenna from extending.
Yes, sir. Absolutely beautiful, man. You've done your homework on that antenna.
Have you had a chance to go to the website and look at the pictures and watch the animation?
Well, I haven't yet. I'm on the air, herding the cows and cattle things, goats, chickens, whatever. But what's that call sign, Frank?
Yeah, it's WB4 November Whiskey Victor.
Roger, Frank. Roger. And are you on any other place like QRZ or anything?
I have, I'm listed on QRZ, and the website is shown on my QRZ page. And also, if you, I told you about the YouTube videos. If you want to look at those too.
Yes, sir. I just, wanted to try to get another sense of direction for your website there, Frank. So good going, and I'm hoping for you. 73. This is KC9VKV. We'll be clear.
Oh, by the way, you can tune this antenna also by listening to the receive noise, and you can also tune it by using an antenna analyzer if you don't want to put a carrier on the air to tune it. So either one of those 3 methods work.
Roger. Yes, must not throw carriers. I mean, not throw carriers, but I do that. I've done that a little bit, about 2 watts worth. Roger?
Yeah, well, if you're on the frequency and you're occupying the frequency and you put like a 10 or 20 watt carrier on there for 15 or 20 seconds, I don't think anybody's going to care because you're using the frequency anyway. You're not clobbering anybody.
That's a roger. That's absolutely a roger. All right, Frank, 73, sir. We'll catch you next Friday. Give me a shout. This is KC9VKV. Will be clear?